Hi everyone, Michael with Open Book Build here. As many of you know, there's a serious lack of supply of homes available for sale in the market today. The existing homes available for sale are either priced too high or they need a ton of work. Today I want to explore the savings potential when building your own home in the current real estate market. We'll look at the current home builder markup as reported in last week's financial reports from a publicly traded home builder, and we'll dig into these numbers to discuss the potential savings from managing the construction of your own home while taking on the role of the general contractor. Now, we'll finish up the discussion by looking at the often overlooked tax savings on the equity created when managing the construction of your own home. And I'm going to share with you a free online calculator that will help you determine your savings potential based on your income level. In order to better understand the potential savings when building our own home, we need to look at what the typical builder is making on each house they build. The idea here is that once we know how much they're making on each house, we can use that as a starting point to determine owner-builder potential savings. But first we need to find the right home builder to review. NVR Incorporated builds homes under the Ryan Homes, NV Homes, and Heartland Homes brands. The reason these guys are the best option to analyze financials is, one, they're a publicly traded company, so they publish financials for us to review. No small builder is going to open their books and show us their profit numbers. Two, they typically don't develop land, while many builders do. So NVR's profit numbers are more closely resembling the owner-builder experience. And three, they hire subcontractors to perform the work on the homes instead of using employees. So this matches up really well with the idea of taking on the role of the general contractor for your own home. Now, according to NVR's 2022 annual report, quote, "We generally do not engage in land development. Instead, we typically acquire finished building lots from various third-party developers," end quote. So the profit generated by NVR is strictly from building homes, while other builders make some of their money from taking a raw piece of land to a finished community ready for building homes. Now, these builder land developer companies are more difficult to analyze for profitability because they have two or more sources for generating income. So now that we know that NVR is a good candidate to review for profitability, let's dig into the numbers. Now, obviously the margins that businesses make fluctuate with the economic conditions. These numbers I'm sharing with you today were just published last week, so they accurately reflect the current real estate market. So the gross profit margin reported by NVR in their financials was 24.3%, and their average sales price of the homes closed was $448,000 with a gross profit of $108,864. This translates to a markup over 32.1% over cost. So let's say an owner builder can save a more modest 25% markup. Remember, the big builder has negotiating power that we don't have when building a single home. But 25% markup savings is possible for an owner builder who focuses aggressively on cost control measures that we talk about extensively throughout our online course for owner builders. So using this 25% number, what do the savings actually look like for an owner builder currently? I like to use round numbers to make things easier to understand. So let's say the cost to build a new home with a local builder, not including the land, is $400,000. Now, assuming a 25% markup for the builder, the owner builder could build the same home for $320,000 if all things are equal. That's a savings of $80,000. Now, I know some of the people that are considering taking on the role of the general contractor as an owner builder are saying to themselves, that sounds like a lot of work. And let me just say, it is a lot of work. I would suggest looking at the time involved and regard it as a second job that can pay quite well. But I also want you to consider the tax implications because this is a huge bonus. It's probably not a new concept to all of you, but remember, if you live in the home as a primary residence for 2 years before selling, you typically won't pay taxes on that $80,000 in equity that you created by being the owner builder. So let's take a quick look at what that tax savings might look like in a simple example. If we stick with the same example we used so far, the house cost the owner builder $320,000 to build with a savings of $80,000 in equity gained when the home is complete. And let's say the owner builder lives in the home for 2 years before selling, so they end up with an extra $80,000 in their pocket after closing because of the exclusion of capital gains taxes on a primary residence, up to $500,000 for a married couple or $250,000 for a single person. Now let's say that the owner builder decided not to build a new home, but instead decided to take on more work either through additional jobs or working harder in their current business to make that extra $80,000. Now, obviously, some of that money will go to state and federal income taxes. So let's take a look to see how that would affect taxes. There's a great little tool that Forbes has for estimating income taxes, and I'm gonna plug in our sample numbers to show we save a significant amount of money by becoming an owner builder versus working harder to generate income in other ways. Let's keep the numbers round again to make things easy and say the owner builder and her husband brings in $100,000 in income in a given year, and let's say they live in Ohio. Plugging that into the simple income tax calculator and assuming they file taxes jointly, we see their taxes for state and federal income and federal come into $10,691. Now keep in mind, this doesn't take into consideration itemized deductions and other taxpayer specifics, but it does provide a good simple calculation. Now, as we mentioned before, let's say the owner builder decides to work longer hours in their business and they make an extra $80,000. So their income now becomes $180,000. Plugging that into the calculator, we see their total income taxes, both state and federal, goes up to $30,491. So their income taxes go up by $19,800 on that extra $80,000 in income. That's huge. So which would you rather do? Work hard to earn an extra $80,000 at your business or your job and pay the government almost $20,000 of that money in taxes, or build your own home as an owner builder, live in the home as your primary residence for at least 2 years and pocket all of that money? So this simple example shows how this tax advantage can really amplify the savings for owner builders. Now, full disclosure, I'm not an accountant or tax accountant, so you'll want to consult with one to figure your particular circumstances. So I want to restate that general contracting out your own home is a time-consuming and stressful project. It's not easy. And for me personally, I think the real reason to build your own home is to get exactly what you want, exactly where you want it. Now, on top of that, it's a great thing to know that you created something cool that will last a very long time, all while learning a new skill that has the potential to pay you dividends for the rest of your life. I think it's very important to note here that the savings an owner builder can achieve is based on a lot of different factors and obviously can't be guaranteed. Now, some folks will save 25% because they focus aggressively on cost control, while others may save just 5% while upgrading to higher quality materials. But hopefully this video has given you some indication of what the high end of the saving range can be for an owner builder. That's it for today, gang. I'm Michael Luckadoo with ownerbuilderclass.com. Thanks for watching.